Okay, so there we go. I'm going to try and do this a little bit quicker, a little bit snappier hopefully than some of the other rambling, insane videos that I've done in the past. These are some Chromebooks. I did a video when one of these first came out, the C720, the Acer C720, which is this one, because I bought this when it first was available in the UK and liked it a lot, still do, and I just wanted to quickly go through some of the differences and a bit of an opinion, seeing as there are quite a few new Chromebooks coming out at the moment. None of these are particularly new. That's the C720. So in the UK that generally comes with 2 gig of RAM, 16 gig SSD or whatever flash. That's about it. And a Celeron Haswell based CPU, which is really nice and fast. The design of these are all pretty similar. All the C720s are all the same. You get a USB 3 port, a USB 2 port, a card reader, HDMI, power, that's about it, headphones, and that's about it, I think. Yeah. So it's a good, solid, cheap Chromebook. Doing the classic thing of not being able to open the device with one hand. That was it booting up pretty much. Really, really good. Acer then surprised people with a touchscreen version. The only other touchscreen Chromebook at the time was the Pixel. And so this basically is the same as the 720, except that you can touch it. So it's the same chassis, but basically the screen is different. It's a touchscreen. It's got kind of a plastic or glass, probably plastic, covering over the whole thing, including this bezel here, whereas that doesn't. And it's a touchscreen. They're both not the best screens in the world. I honestly thought it was fine when I got this one. But when I've seen better screens, I've realised they're not that great. You also lose an hour of battery life with the touchscreen version. It says somewhere on here 7.5 hours, whereas this one is 8.5. So somehow that touchscreen, even though it's not actually a better screen really in terms of brightness or contrast or whatever, or colours, the touchscreen does take off an hour's battery life, which really is a bit of a shame. This one has a French keyboard because it was cheap in the UK on eBay, and it is slightly thicker because of the screen, but it doesn't really add a huge deal to the weight or the thickness, and I quite like this. I think off the top of my head this one has 2 gig of RAM again, which is a bit of a shame because that's soldered on, but it does have a 32 gig SSD, and there's so many configurations that Acer have released in different countries. It's ridiculous. Okay. So just before the 720 came out, I actually ordered this. Now I actually cancelled my order and decided to wait for this, simply because this was a fantastic design, and that's what kind of got me interested in the first place. The kind of really nice, innovative design, and that's when I started taking Chromebooks seriously. You can see the light bar on here. It's gone off now as I've shut it. You'll have seen these before. These are now effectively discontinued, and HP have basically released exactly the same. This is the HP, by the way, HP Chromebook 11. They've basically released a new one that has the same spec but a crap kind of design, a basic design, and also doesn't have this screen. I mean, you can't really see the difference. I guess you can, maybe you can actually. It's difficult, but the colours are way better, it's brighter, it's an IPS screen basically, it's just better. This doesn't have USB 3, doesn't have a card reader, but the main other issue is the fact that it's an ARM CPU, and honestly it's okay, but once you've been using something like this with an Intel CPU, that it's just faster. Now it wouldn't be so bad. This is thinner, it has no fans, but the battery life is only around 5.5, 6 hours, something like that, I think. So if you can get 8.5 here for less, probably less money, with more performance, then really all you're gaining here is some style and the screen. It's hard not to like this machine because it just is so nice. It was kind of designed by the Chromebook Pixel team. I think the guys that had some influence on that had influence on this design, and it really does show what could be done. It's just I don't understand why they've dumped it. Oh, the other interesting thing is it charges from USB. So I got hold of this cheap recently. Probably just going to end up selling it again. But I kept it a little bit longer so I could take it with me to France recently, because I was only taking cabin baggage, and I could actually just take one multi-USB charger, and everything I took with me could charge from that. So my laptop, my phone, my Android Wear watch, what else, my Kindle, everything could charge from it. So it was one less charge to take, so I thought, why not? I'll keep hold of it for a few more weeks. So that is probably going to have to go. So we'll just move that out of the way, because talking of the Pixel, this is my main machine, the Chromebook Pixel. Why the hell would you buy one of these, I hear you say? Yeah, they're stupidly expensive. They sort of made sense if you were going to use a lot of Google Drive storage, because they come with 2 years free storage, no, 3 years I think storage. The rest come with 2 years 100 gig. This comes with 3 years 1 terabyte, and when it was about $50 a month, it was actually worth buying this. If you were going to use that storage, it was actually worth buying this laptop just for the storage. Now it's only $10 a month. It doesn't really make as much sense. However, these are £1,050 or something ridiculous in the UK. I got this for less than half that, and it was worth it, I have to say. The screen is just the best screen of any laptop I've ever used anywhere ever. Blows all MacBooks, Retina MacBook Pros, etc. out of the water, in my opinion. It's a 3:2 aspect ratio, which is fantastic for web. You know, all these others are widescreen, and what do you actually do on it most of the time? You view web pages, and they're not designed for widescreen. So, you know, I don't watch movies really on laptops, so why have a widescreen for that one-off occasion where you're actually going to benefit from it? The touchpad is amazing, the keyboard's amazing, it's backlit, the design is amazing, the performance is amazing. The only problem with it is battery life is around 5.5 hours again. It's saying currently 5 hours 10 left with 100%, and that's with the screen brightness at about half, but it's probably going to increase that 5 hours 10, I would say, if I didn't touch it from here. As you can see, this is also touchscreen, which I really like. It's not that useful on Chrome OS. They are making it better, but I do really like it. It is useful as it is, and also when the Android apps are released for Chrome OS in the next few months, hopefully, that will probably become even more useful. So what I'm saying is, all of these are great Chromebooks. I need to sell some. I have 3 C720s at the moment, these two, and my original one, so that one definitely needs to go. I only bought that because it was 80 quid on eBay, and I didn't need it whatsoever, so that needs to go back on eBay for some more money than that. Need to decide whether I want to keep this. I probably don't need it, but it might be handy for occasions where this is just that little bit too heavy. It is a solid chunk. It does have a big screen. There's the light bar, by the way. It doesn't do anything useful, but it's cool. It's not prohibitively large or heavy, but there are just the odd occasion possibly where you know, or maybe I just don't want to be carrying an expensive machine around certain places. This might fare better in those situations, and it does have the touchscreen, which I like, etc, etc. So you never know, I might end up keeping more than one. I'll definitely be keeping that. The rest probably need to go to some extent. Well, definitely most of them do. we'll just have to decide which. I also have an older C710 or the C7 or whatever they get called. Bought that recently got it for about £30 or so, but the screen's missing and it has no battery, so it's in a little bit of a sorry state, but I want to just use it plugged into a monitor and a keyboard and mouse, so basically it's a cheap Chromebox, and it should do that job fairly nicely. Questions about Chromebooks? Drop me a line. I think they really are the way forward for me, for a lot of the work I do. I mean, I work professionally in IT, but most of the time I just don't need anything more, and why suffer updates and problems and hassle? And I've got this old Mac Pro here which I've dedicated and done loads of upgrades to, and dedicated a lot of time to bringing up to speed and getting Mavericks running on it even though it's not supported, etc. And I look at it, you know, I use it for photo editing sometimes, not very much really, and Apple have just dumped Aperture, and I'm now thinking, could I just dump all my photos into the cloud onto my 1 TB of Google Drive storage and just be done with it? And that can go on eBay as well. I don't know, perhaps. Anyway, that's a really, hopefully, relatively quick look at a number of different Chromebooks. If I had to go and say which one would you buy, I'd say go and find a cheap C720 somewhere, whether it's a touchscreen or not. Probably wouldn't pay extra for the touchscreen new, certainly at the UK prices. But the basic C720 is an awesome Chromebook. You can find them second hand quite cheaply, or even new, well under £200 in the UK. Just go and grab one. That's lovely, but a bit underpowered. Looks fantastic, but a bit underpowered. Better screen, that's the only real other advantage. Shame about the battery life. So better screen, worse battery life. Better performance, better battery, worse screen. Almost everything, but not battery, and just too damn expensive for most people, unless you manage to find one, as I did, in a pawn shop for less than half the retail price. And this is one of the problems with Chromebooks. I know I was going to start this video, but one of the problems is there is not a single device that ticks every box. I think probably some of the newer Chromebooks that are coming out, there's a Dell one, there's some new Acers coming, or certainly this Acer, the C720 is available now with an i3 processor and more RAM, etc, etc. Don't know the pricing on those, don't know if they're going to be available in the UK, perhaps not. Perhaps isn't the market for it here. So it's a difficult one. At this stage of the Chromebooks, I don't think there was really one that you could say ticked every box. I think perhaps there's a few coming out now which are beginning to. But it's an interesting market, and Chrome OS updates every few weeks basically with new features, and it's rapidly developing, and it's a really exciting thing to use. So I would definitely recommend checking one out. Thanks.